Affiliates 2.0 and influencer economies.
All right. Hi, everybody. So we've dealt with many topics today and yesterday, but for this specific panel, we're going to talk about influencer marketing. Of course, many operators here are working with influencers, right? And we want to hear specifically through influencers and also through influencer agencies. And so I want to call on stage our guest for today. Let's call on Vitaly Balakhonov from GIR Influencer Agency. Nice to see you. Have a seat. Now, we have two special guests. Our prime influencers they're gonna join us on stage today. Rita Arnaus, please join me on stage. And last but not least, we have Jelani, our esports influencer, top prime influencer. How you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us. All right, so be comfortable. Are you guys all right? All right, you got some water on, stay hydrated. But I want to start with the industry itself when it comes to influencer marketing, right? So it's been going on for quite a few years that a lot of these iGaming brands are partnering with influencers, streamers online, and that's a huge industry. Now, I want to start with you, Vitaly. What were the differences between 5 years ago when it comes to influencers, right, and that strategy that they had back then, and today? What are the main differences that you've seen so far?
Well, it's a good question. I think the main difference is scale, I would say, first, because 5 years ago it was just starting. People, social networks, social platforms were developing themselves as well, and all the streamers and influencers, they are using these platforms, obviously. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. And as they were entering this market, entering this jungle, I could say, they were getting around there, understanding how it works, and then they began to promote brands after building own user bases, follower bases, and after being able to be trusted to translate some other messages and stuff like this. So yeah, I think it's development in terms of understanding how it works and scale.
And what about the differences between the strategies on social media platforms? We got TikTok, we got Instagram, so you got tons of platforms, but what are the main differences when it comes to, let's say, the strategies that influencers have when it comes to content?
It's for me again?
That's for you, sir, yeah.
Well, these platforms are driven by content. Still, content is the king, as it was 5-10 years ago, it still is, and the content different between Instagram and TikTok. TikTok is mostly videos, funny videos, entertainment. Instagram, mostly lifestyle things, but again, depending on types of brands. So it gets native to the type of platform, because you probably wouldn't be showing the same kind of content in both TikTok and in YouTube, for example.
Right.
Because vertical quick videos versus long view videos with, let's think how much budget it takes to produce videos for YouTube, right? It's studios and movie grade production for YouTube and casual phone videos for TikTok. So that's the difference, and that reflects how it works for these influencers.
But Rita, for you, and speaking about content itself, what is your own strategy when it comes to creating content and creating value for the brands that you work with? For Rita.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's important to create a strong relationship with your followers. Long-lasting trust with the followers is what it's going to give authenticity. And at the end, I think we have to... At the end, I think as a content creator, we have to constantly be changing, adapting to the algorithm. This is a big thing. So the key would be to stay true to yourself, to your values, to engage with your community, and to whatever way you go in terms of promoting brands or collaborating with other companies, the core is to be yourself and don't lose your authenticity.
Jelani?
Yeah, so the same question, right?
Yeah.
So the most important thing, right, and it goes for a lot, not just the influencer world, is building long-term trust with your audience, like no matter what. And like you said, you have to stay true to yourself at all times. Authenticity always wins. Realness and, always being yourself, because I feel like in this day and age as well, the audience is always more sensitive to what's real and what's not. And if they know it's real, they're going to want to be a part of whatever journey you'll bring them on. And that directly helps with brands and everyone, like influencer marketing agencies, it helps with everyone, because if the audience are happy, then I'm happy, you're happy, it's converting and we're winning, So yeah, it's just important, it's the authenticity, like definitely is a great point you made.
When it comes to conversion, so you guys started, Rita, Jelani, you guys started as micro affiliates. You didn't start having, these followers that you have now. Yeah. But what do you think has been the main, let's say, differentiation from when you started as a micro affiliate to now, when it comes to building that trust with the brands themselves? Jelani?
So a lot has changed, and that's one thing, like, I've got to really, really just make that a big point. Like, every day, week, month, year, the game changes, and you have to adapt. So it's very different, but it was also different last year. But I started 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's super different, and I think the main difference has been, it was on paper a bit easier 4 years ago. The competition in all ways is higher now because the quality of everything is higher now. Like you mentioned, Vitaly, like YouTube is movie grade stuff now. When we started, I was on my iPhone on a tripod and it's barely moving. Now I've got movie cameras, 3 of them on every shoot. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. And that's because the brands, they want better videos to promote their brands now. It's more than just slapping a logo on something and hard selling. The audience needs to be taken through a journey. Like I mentioned, like all my videos are storytelling, because you can't just say, hey, buy this. You have to build it throughout, and you're taking them on a journey. And then when it gets to the point where it can naturally be integrated, there you go, there's your brand integration. And that's how the conversions improve. These days, you can't just go out and say, okay, my main thing is to hard sell you right now. You have to naturally do it. So yeah, it's definitely harder, but I think it's in the best place it's been since I've done this.
Yeah. I mean, that's very interesting when it comes to content creation. Vitaly, for you, the same question. Micro affiliates, we got macro affiliates, mega affiliates, right? Mega influencers in this case. For you, for example, what should be, if someone's a micro affiliate, right? Because you've mentioned that you've worked with even the smallest types of influencers. I call them affiliates in this case, but yeah. What would be, let's say, the starter for somebody who wants to start promoting brands themselves? What are the criteria for brands in order to work with, influencers in this case? What is the difference? Because, okay, I might have 500 followers, for example, but I got, a very strict, tight kind of community, but there might be someone, an influencer who has 1 million followers, but the lifetime value is much, much lower. So for brands, what are the criteria that they have to work with influencers like that?
Well, I think it's kind of tricky because, yes, the lifetime value may be different, but again, the reach will be different, obviously. Well, with 500 followers, how many, even website visits can you get?
Right.
Even without speaking registrations and deposits. So it's about scale. And if you want to, okay, let's say you want to get 1,000 FTDs as a common metric for affiliate marketing, right? And you can do few ways. You can get one big affiliate, and it's hit or miss. So you have only one chance, and you have this budget for let's say you have X budget. Or you can have 10 smaller affiliates, which will give you wider reach, more variety in terms of what these people are coming for, different gender, age distribution. So you have more data to analyze, to see which results you're getting from, and to think, because your next step is always should be scale, yeah? You never run this company one time. You probably should be running it for a year or so with different sources. And if you do it with one person, it's hard to think what's your next step gonna be. And as a business, the person who runs the business, you gotta be thinking like 2 or 3 steps ahead. And once you have more data in the first iteration, right, you have more opportunities to pivot, to do more experiments in future once you have the bigger data. So it all depends on what your goals and what your kind of audience you want to reach.
Rita, for you, what are the goals that your brand, the partner brands that you work with, right? What are their expectations, and what do you do yourself when it comes to the content strategy? Do they provide you with a step-by-step guide, or you have the freedom to, create the content as you basically authentically can?
So it really depends on the brands and the influencers as well. The way I work, sometimes I do have a strategy, guidelines to follow and to create the content. Other times, the brand already likes the content I create and how I'm exposing to the products to my followers. And I think the most important is to be consistent with the content, even though you don't have anything to promote. You gotta be there. You gotta be, show yourself as a real person. And then when the brand comes, then it's easy to like the same content I've been creating, I just add this product. And yeah, as I said, just being real and true. And sometimes, of course, it's quite easy if the brands give you guidelines, but then you're like, well, maybe we need to change this because it doesn't meet with my it doesn't feel the way I work, right?
Right.
So it really varies a lot with brands and influencers. And I do both, but I like to do my own,
Yeah?
Be raw.
Yeah, I mean, you got some freedom, that's a
Yeah.
lot better than type of, okay, you do have a guideline from them, that's the case, but for you, for example, how do you choose to create these content, and which social media platform performs best for you?
For me, it works Instagram.
Instagram.
But as I said, the algorithm is changing, so I keep adapting on the strategies. Like sometimes short videos, long videos, just post, carousel. It's about adapting, and also depends on the product, right? So it's something that it's like it needs an action, then it's better to put it on a video. If something that I'm showing like a skincare product, then maybe pictures,
Right.
or like adapting it.
That's awesome. Jelani, for you, the same question when it comes to the requirements of the brands that you work with. You work mostly with operators, right? Is that correct? Okay. And for you, are there any restrictions when it comes to what you can publish? Do you have those restrictions from the brands? Or, again, do you have the freedom to basically freely create the content as authentically as you can possibly do?
That's a good question. Again, it has changed a lot. I feel like there are more restrictions these days, but then again, there's ways around it to make sure the brand is still happy and my audience is still happy and myself. I feel like creative control is really important. I think it's one of the keys to a successful collaboration. The important thing is to make sure the brands are still hitting their targets, though. That's always so important. So creative control, yes, it's great, but you can't just go completely rogue and do what you want, and then you're missing the point. So your question was is it harder, would you say?
It
with
is
the
when it comes to
restrictions?
the restrictions that you have from the brands, right? So you mentioned that you have full creative control, which is
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
right? So for them, though, do you have any restrictions in what you can publish or what you can, or how you promote the brand itself?
See, that's the key word, is the how, yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, I did say creative control. It's never 100%, unless it's a great day. But even when it isn't fully 100%, I would say how it's published is usually where you may run into a few conversations, not problems, conversations. The brand may want, for example, YouTube is my biggest platform. Was my main platform. My biggest is TikTok, but YouTube are longer videos, landscapes, right? So brands usually want in a 20-minute video, 10-minute video, for it to be in the first 2 minutes. Naturally so. Now, sometimes it may naturally integrate better on the 8th minute because I'm doing a certain action
Right.
that leads into the integration. So that might be a conversation that comes up where I try to explain to the brand, well, it'll be better here. But then they may hit me back and say, hey, we actually want our brand to be here because this is where you're going to get most viewership. So that is the kind of conversation that happens. I've always found the middle ground because we have the same goal. We both want to make the best content possible and please the audience. So yeah, that's the only real problems that we run into with restrictions. But I've never had a problem where it's ruined the whole brand deal or it hasn't performed. There's always a way around it.
Absolutely. Vitaly, for you, from the influencers that you work with, right? How do you suggest them to approach, for example, promoting an operator, a brand in this case? Because, all of these brands, at the end of the day, it's really all about lifetime value, right? It's all about those players that come in. So how can influencers, in this case, based off of your, let's say, suggestions to them, what do you propose in order for them to have a really converting content creation funnel?
I would say, this basic branding rule that trust is built, like they say, person considered to know brand after 6 or 7 touches.
Wow.
Right? So, and it's the same with advertising. Even when you run banners, people mostly click, like when they see the banner 6 or 7, maybe 10 times. The same with registrations. So when it's built over a number of interactions, first of all. Secondly, when you buy classic traffic, yeah, it's, I call it like human to banner interaction, right? When you work with influencer, you go to person interaction area.
Right.
So it gives you way different type of interaction, way different type of communication. And the good way to build this is to work with few influencers in this market and to make sure this brand message you send is consistent. So if you have the campaign about, I don't know, in a tournament or like, I don't know, Halloween campaign, like whatever, make sure the message is similar across all the guys you're working with rather than everyone says something but still this message should be integrated to the nature of influencer, because you guys both influencers and you do things differently. But let's say if the brand approached both of you, you do it in your style, but still, please, like pumpkin tournament for Halloween or something like this. So it's like it's building a proper narrative and messaging it consistently.
Speaking of narrative, that's very important, right? Because it's all about the storytelling. Jelani, I mean Rita in this case. The storytelling really matters, right? So could you tell us a few of the strategies or content that you had created so far that were actually the top performing for you and the brands that you've worked with?
It's a question for who?
That's for Rita.
For Rita, yes.
Branded who, sorry?
Yeah. Could you share us the content creation or the style of the approach that you had for the top performing campaigns that you did for brands?
Well, my top performing campaigns were with big brands that already gave me the guidelines to follow. We were luckily for me, it was easy to create content because I've been traveling a lot for my sport. So that will be already a storytelling, right? Like I will go to Brazil to train, to Colombia, to Finland, and then I align my values with the brand, the product, and then we make a storytelling out of it. And it's just, I've been in big campaigns, but everything it's been like super, strict and planned, but working very hard with like the storytelling and how to put it all together, and so it matches with my profile, obviously.
Yeah. So it's really just about storytelling in this case, right? And sending that message across. Jelani, for you, what are the top campaigns that you did so far that converted really, really well for the brands that you've collaborated with?
That's a good question. The best ones always involve like the professional footballers that I work with. So, for example, last year I was given some time to shoot with Neymar Jr. So he's obviously one of the best football players ever, and that was with a sports brand, Puma. And of course, the goals are different. It's not necessarily about the quick conversions. Again, it's about that long-term value. So I had a certain time with him, but I decided to do a 7-day journey building up to the moment because the audience are now on this journey with me to play with one of their idols, but also one of my idols. So when we get to the point where we're now on the completely branded section, you're not even realizing that we're in a branded section because you've come on this whole journey and you're so engaged with it that you want to see it out to the end. And it was never a hard selling thing. It's more about, look at what we're wearing. We're in this situation, and now you want to be in the situation, as an audience member, a younger audience member, let's say, they're looking at it like, okay, I wish I was in that situation, or I wish I could do those skills, or I wish I could do that challenge. But you're automatically resonating with the brand because we're wearing branded clothes, rather than saying, hey, here's this, here's that. But now if I say we've got a JTEX 10 code at the end, they're more likely to want to use it because they just watched the JTEX video with Neymar, and now they want the same thing. You know what I mean? So that was one of the best performing. Got millions of views on YouTube and just short form as well on both the channels. So everyone was happy, and at the end of the day, it was never a hard selling thing. It was long-term value because, again, the audience loved it. So I did bigger campaigns. I did another campaign, another one, another one, another one. So now every time they see that brand or they see me wearing the brand, they resonate with it, more likely to convert.
Absolutely. Vitaly, for you, in this case, I mean, we talked about the past of influencers, you know, the influencer marketing and the trends and everything, but where do you see it going from here on out? Let's say because things always shift, right, Rita? Everything shifts really rapidly, and, you know, the audience can resonate to the content that you create in a very different way now, tomorrow, and the next day. So, Vitaly, for you, where do you see influencer marketing headed in the next 5 years? For example, what are the trends that you're predicting that would be the next best thing?
It's a good question. Well, first of all, starting with the basics thoughts in this regard, I think we will see the change in the way people tell their stories. Because as Guy says, it's all about storytelling. It's all how to deliver your messages. There probably going to be some technology shift because we see new technologies. Maybe AI will get away somehow. I don't know. Maybe something will happen. But we see the latest news in tech, the robotics getting more and more involved. Yeah, we see like humanoid robots. We see AI. So I think there will maybe some new platforms will be appearing within the next 5 years, and the way we communicate our message to our audience. So I think something like this.
Rita, for you, I mean, the content that you create now, right, it's going viral. But for you, and seeing other influencers as well, how do you see yourself evolving from what you do now and the content that you create 2 to 3 years further down the line?
But you know, I'm not such a fan of doing viral things because I think those are fast numbers, that they grow fast and that you lose them like this as well. And those are followers that they don't know anything about you. They just like seen something that went viral, and are they even gonna buy a product that you're, you know, promoting it? So long term, I don't know which things are going to be becoming viral, but I guess the more crazy you go now, the more, you know, do different things. There is so much content nowadays on social media, and we're constantly having inputs of many different creativities, no? So I think it's getting tough. It's getting more difficult, but it's about thinking on what's next, like out of the box.
Maybe we're gonna see some surprise.
I'm ready.
You can never see the future for sure. Maybe something will surprise us in this direction, you know?
I mean, you really got to stand out. I understand the authenticity part, which is vital, right? I think in this day of age, Jelani, authenticity is key, right? But how do you manage to balance having that kind of virality or relevance with your own authenticity? So what do you predict? The way that you create your content now and the way that you would create your content a few years further down the line?
Great question, by the way. And I think it's something that all influencers need to think about. Live in the present, but that is so important because I always say this to myself and to my peers, every day there's a new influencer who's doing something that you're doing, and they're doing it in a different way that might be working better now. So in a few years, I believe it will get to the point where it's less about how well you can edit or less about how quick or how viral your trend is, and it's more about this fan base that you've now built over these few years, what they want to see. In the YouTube scene, it's kind of gone full circle. It started off with just vlogging, raw vlogging, no editing, people going around showing their day. Then you have the Mr. Beastification, is what we like to call it, where it's about how big and how expensive your videos are and how wild and wowing they are, right? And I feel like it's coming full circle again because of streaming. People like that in the moment, real, authentic, reactions, feeling. And I feel like that's, in the next few years, that's where I'm going to be. Right now, I'm like half and half. I'm a real big fan of creating movie-like production. So I like the element of scripting certain things. So like, we're going to go here and it's going to be like this. However, just like with my most viral videos with the football players, the part everyone loves the most is the real, authentic interactions you have, the most human nature of things. That's what everyone loves, authenticity. So I do believe in the next few years, I want to get to the point where I can just turn on the camera and just do whatever it is that my audience want. That might be going to the shops, that might be playing football here and there, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Very good example about Pharrell, because isn't it influencer marketing? They just got this guy as creative director of fashion brand.
Right.
Yeah, and like this is influencer marketing. This is how it goes. Who could have imagined it a couple of years ago, right? It's not like integration of a bag to his movie clip on MTV or something. Just hire him as creative director. Here's what we see as evolution. So
and that's how you evolve from there,
the more crazy things. While I was thinking about your question about next 5 years, probably new collaborations gonna happen, which we haven't seen before. And exactly you brought it up. It's a very good point. Probably some similar things will pop out. And from what I see, in general, gambling takes a lot of lessons from other industries, like from fashion, from sports, obviously, from esports, because it's also entertainment. And probably what's happening in these industries is going to reflect on our industry as well in a few years.
Absolutely. Now, I think for our final question is this, and it's very much connected to what we see online and the content that we consume. AI, right? It's just out there. I mean, it's not something that we can't fully control. But I think, well, in my opinion, this is the advantage of influencers, because there's that human connection with the audience. But Vitaly, how do you see that affecting content and the audience when it comes to what they consume with AI? For example, I've seen a video of a cat jumping off of a pool, and I actually was fooled because I thought that was freaking real. You know what I mean? So the lines are getting blurred and blurred. So how do you see AI affecting influencer marketing in this case?
It's a tricky question because I'm not a person who may see in future, right? But I had a joke that now there's a trend that AI creates content and it's widespread. Maybe someday we will see that we will pay extra money for human-created content because we will have so many AI-created stuff that we can literally create it with human and it will be more expensive, and more like different because still, this joke that the AI cannot draw you a full cup of wine.
Right.
Because there's no photos of full cup of wine, it's always half full. And only real person can do your photo of full cup of wine. And I think such tricks will be more and more in future. But again, if we could see the future, maybe we would be doing way different things at this moment, but hopefully we will have this gift.
Rita, how do you use AI with your work life in this case, or with content creation? Is that something that you use yourself?
I use it sometimes to prepare the guidelines, to get ideas on how to create the content. But I don't see myself using AI on my content, like faking it, or, as I said, I think being raw and authentic, it's most important to connect with your audience. I mean, who knows? Never say never. But for now, I won't use it.
We'll
I think that's going to be more valuable, because everything is moving towards AI. So what's the matter? I mean, what's the special thing?
Absolutely. And at some point, you're going to be turning into the 1% of the whole equation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I wanted to say that usage AI is always a general term. You can use it differently. You can use it as a help, and now it's like it's your hygiene of your day-to-day work. You always help, but you not necessarily use it as full production studio. You gotta do something yourself, but it's good help. Why shouldn't we use it? So will people, oh, use AI? Well, sometimes you have to use it and it's good. Like there should be just line, some like common sense at the level of implementation of the stuff.
Jelani, how does that impact you in this case?
AI is a very interesting one. At first, I was more reserved and, you know, it's just, that's not me and I don't understand that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's for everyone in the world. AI is here and it's here to stay. You can't go and fight against AI, work with it. So there's ways you can work with it. You can do a whole AI video of a cat jumping off a pool, like you just said. Or you can use it to write ideas. I use AI to usually just order things or say it in a better way. But human connection is always gonna be the winner. At the end of the day, you can go viral fast, but authenticity lasts. No matter what happens, that's always gonna be something that the influencer world has over AI. There's AI influencers, but you'll never feel the same connection. So work with it. Don't try and beat it, don't try to work against it. Use it to uplift your content. You can edit faster maybe, you can do things more efficiently.
Yeah.
But you can better yourself. Like I said, you can go viral fast, but authenticity will always last, always.
And probably I just thought, be honest, okay? Just be honest. You can use it, and it's okay to use it. And in certain ways, it's necessity these days because it's already in. But just be honest. Don't say if this video was AI generated. Just say, but this was, the prompt is yours.
Yeah.
Still, the AI cannot work with humans' prompts. So that's why, just be honest, and if you're using AI, just say it. Don't lie to your audience, because audience feels it, and if we were discussing throughout this conversation, you want to build trust, then work on the building trust rather than try to cheat or disrespect your audience. That's the key, probably.
100%. I think we have a few questions from the crowd, right? So the question is, how are influencer-driven campaigns changing player acquisition compared to traditional affiliate models? Vitaly, I think this is for you.
Comparing to what?
How are influencer-driven campaigns changing player acquisitions compared to traditional affiliate models?
My thought on this, so I have two things. First of all, traditional acquisition models, affiliate, are mostly banner advertising or like video advertising. And it's like person-to-banner interaction, right? When you speak about influencers, it's person-to-person interaction. Yes, it's at scale. It's one person communicated to the audience, but it's still, you feel it differently. It's not like click here to get your bonus. It's like integrated to your story, like play the football game, do a challenge, something, so it's different. And also, but I think it's okay for now, because I can talk for a lot about it.
Absolutely. So we have another question. How would you approach promoting a casino or slots brand in an authentic way that still converts? I think I would like for the influencers to answer this question. Rita? Perhaps over there. So how would you approach promoting a casino or slots brand in an authentic way that still converts? It's quite loud in here, isn't it? Right? It's because a lot of parties going over there.
Well,
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
I think play it yourself.
Yeah.
You like if you don't using it, why people would use it, right? So if you want your followers follow you,
Right.
show them example. There are 5 types of leadership, and the best type of leadership is show an example. And if you're opinion leader, then lead with example. So just play this game, show how these slots play, and people will follow you. I think it's pretty simple here.
And I'm going to end it there. I think, do we have more questions? All right, no more questions. Thank you so much. This was an insightful panel today, and we'll certainly see you next time with more influencer marketing insights from you guys. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure. It was a real pleasure.